Hello, my name is Daniel Fowler. I'm here to talk to you about globalization today. This is for the spring 2017 class of IBUS 580. And I'll share a little bit about globalization losers and what the options are to support those people and those firms that may be suffering from those effects. So where I got my information was from a place called Bruegel. It's a European think tank that specializes in economics. They've been around for a little over 10 years now. And you'll find some interesting information here shortly about what their thoughts are on globalization impacts. My discussion here today is from an article called Compensating the Losers of Globalization. And it's very interesting how the EU looks at globalization and the impacts of not only the people but where that is coming from. And I do have rights to share this information. So from our lesson that we're learning right now, we're talking about how globalization breaks down barriers. And the interesting question is, what do we do about weighing the benefits of globalization with the impacts and the inequalities that are created in globalization? So from a background perspective, part of the global economy, being part of the global economy is not an option. You have to be in there. You can't just shut off from the rest of the world. And there are trade policy framework that are in place that lack the openness that probably could be there. So could we redesign a framework that allows for more flexibility, more agile market, and addresses some of the inequality of incomes? And can the government do that at the same time protecting the companies from the side effects of globalization? That'll be the hard part. So some bold questions are coming out here. Can compensation be engineered? How far should governments go? And even if we do come up with these solutions, is it even politically feasible to go forward? Are we ready for these sort of solutions? So one idea is universal basic income, and we know incomes are eroding due to machines, process automation, offshoring, and that sort of thing. And so maybe it's time to look at universal basic income as a replacement for lost earnings and lost jobs. Now, who would pay? Obviously, somebody has to pay for that. And productivity gains over the last 30 years have really benefited a very small group of people. And so by using UBI, this would be kind of a wealth redistribution, but would be designed to grow in line with the wealth of the economy in the local area that it's in. So how do we fund this? Well, it hinges really upon automation. So the less human labor, the less wages and such. Minimal maintenance is required, and profits will increase. So the proposition is to change how we look at income generation and ensure that the benefits of automation are shared across the workforce. So here's where government can intervene, and how they would do that is with effective taxation, efficient use of funds. We all would appreciate that. And looking at the labor market and being prepared to deal with future disruptive technology impacts of what's coming. And so the hazards with doing this is paying people for meaningless work really creates disengaged workers. So subsidizing regions in the EU, which is where this article came from, causes them to want more autonomy. And we've tried this with manufacturing in the US, and it just simply hasn't worked as effectively as it should. So we think there's some ideas here that could benefit this. One is rethinking labor mobility, looking at internal migration instead of emigration, and more importantly, looking at the psychological and social aspects of it, not just the labor aspect. And so out comes a balanced approach is looking at policies that target global competition, look at not subsidizing unemployment, but instead strengthening reemployment and looking at long-term skills and education, especially early education. And my final word is that education really is what is important here. As Nelson Mandela said, it's the most important and most powerful weapon that we have. And if we really want to change the world, it's not by redistributing wealth, it's by educating people and preparing them for the changing environment that's coming. Thank you.